Last week we made a quick trip back to the US. It was for my dental appointment, the last one for a dental implant, and all went well. It was also a time to touch base with friends and family, even though we'd been only gone 2 weeks. And of course, to pick up boat parts. We made a trip to West Marine and also to Minnie's in Costa Mesa, which is a secondhand surplus boat parts store. And there we met Rob, who happens to have his boat here in Guaymas at the beginning of our row. Talk about a small world. We have multiple projects going on, and one day between projects, Lee had a chance to take a look at some of the lights and fans that weren't working. He found in most cases it was simply due to a loose or corroded connection. Here he is in the head. What's special about these connectors, Lee?
Well, these are butt connectors. They're by Ancor. There are probably other people who make them. The nice thing about these is these ends are heat shrinkable, so when you heat them with a heat gun, they shrink around the wire and release an adhesive, or I'm not sure, a sealant or adhesive of some sort, that will then seal against the wires and keep water from coming in. I'm going to heat these two I've already put in up here. Let's see how it works.
So is it shrinking?
Slowly.
How do you know when?
You can see the top one is shrunk up.
Yeah, okay.
It should shrink down up against the wires. Have to do it kind of even. So this one here, you can see at the bottom, there's a little bit of liquid that has come out. The bottom of it, that's the sealant. So I'll assume this one is fairly well done. I'll just work on the other one now.
I see the wires that are coming down out of the overhead, but there's another wire leading off. Where does that go?
Well, the person that was here before us used that wire to power the fan here, and I'll then have to remount the fan, but they ran them off the same line. They don't draw too much current, so there should be no problem.
Okay, so you think that will work? Huh?
Yep.
Oh, good.
Now let's see.
Good deal. Oh, wow. Great.
I don't know where the switch was here.
Very neat. Before we left the boat, Lee and I sat down and listed all the things we needed to accomplish in order to splash the boat. The list probably isn't complete, but it opened our eyes to the fact that we aren't as close to splashing as we thought. So even though we have the list and have narrowed our tasks down, that hasn't kept us from enjoying our new friends and learning to live in our new home. One day, a friend was in need of medical care, and we found a doctor that was able to speak some English, and when he wasn't able to express himself adequately in English, he used Google Translate on his computer. The doctor visit, the trip to the lab, and the prescription cost approximately $75, and I was very impressed with the level of care my friend received. Dr. Diaz, on Calle 20, even gave her his cell phone number to be called if there was any problem. I'm pleased to say that she is doing much better. It seems that for every 2 steps forward, we take a step backwards. In a previous episode, I discussed the repair of the cracks in our sailing dinghy's hull and the subsequent painting of the hull. Prior to the dinghy leaving California, a strong windstorm lifted the dinghy off its chocks and dropped it nearby. 2 cracks reappeared, indicating my repair was a stopgap measure. This week was time to get really serious. I have gouged out the cracks all the way through the skin to the inner flotation foam. I then beveled the gouges with a sander, and Lee took over with the epoxy and glass. He still needs to add the fairing filler to the epoxy before the hull can be sanded down and repainted sometime next week. If this repair doesn't do the trick, we will be looking for a replacement dinghy. Previously, I had ordered this custom-sized cutting board from coolergaskets.com to cover the stove and give me more counter space. When it was time to replace the refrigerator gasket, I ordered a custom-made gasket from Cooler Gaskets. Not having an adhesive remover at hand, I used a trick my friend Vicky told me about: elbow grease and peanut butter. It actually worked, and I think the ground peanuts are a mild abrasive, while the oil helps lift the adhesive. After using a solvent to remove the residual oil from the peanut butter, I used weather stripping adhesive to attach the gasket, and I am very pleased with the results. A task we forgot to include on our splash list was checking over our anchor rod. Lee spread out and marked the chain at 50-foot increments. On our primary anchor, a 45-pound Delta anchor, we have 200 feet of chain and 50 foot of line. At the end of the chain, Lee marked the orange with black stripes to give us a heads up we are getting close to the rope. Our secondary anchor is a 45-pound CQR with 50 feet of chain and 200 feet of line. During the cruising season, there is a once-a-month cruiser swap meet in San Carlos. It's a popular event and a time to socialize and meet up with other cruisers in the area. But you better get there promptly before all the good bargains disappear. I like going there because it's a beautiful drive. I've only talked about easily accomplished tasks, and other than the dinghy project, nothing that would keep us from splashing. In future episodes, I'll talk about some of the more challenging projects that have pushed back our splash date. So, until then,